went through a very long period in my life. I'm still very young, but I went through a really long period where I felt like I was constantly running from things and I wasn't ready to face certain things that I had gone through, wasn't ready to...
Do you still have any sort of relationship?
Yeah, of course. And people ask me this all the time. We spent so many years so close, and I think that we'll always have that sort of like bond that will remain no matter what.
This story starts with a 12-year-old girl crying outside a candy store because her idol tweeted about her. That girl is Madison Beer. And the idol? Justin Bieber. The tweet felt like a dream, validation from the biggest teen star in the world. But dreams can twist. That tweet didn't just launch Madison into fame. It catapulted her into a world few can survive, a world where fame, power, and protection intertwine. She became the next big thing, a young voice with beauty, talent, and now Bieber's stamp of approval. But in the shadows of viral headlines and red carpet flashes, things were already getting complicated. Behind Madison's smile was a story she wasn't yet old enough to tell. A story about being shaped emotionally, professionally, and some argue inappropriately. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It is free and help us bring you enjoyable content. And of course, watch till the end. And now, a decade later, Hailey Bieber, Justin's wife, is responding, not with silence, not with shade, but with something no one expected. Picture this, a tiny girl, oversized hoodie, eyes puffed from crying, standing on the sidewalk outside a candy shop. Her phone is shaking in her hands. She's just read a tweet from Justin Bieber, the Justin Bieber, sharing a video of her singing and calling her a future star. For Madison Beer, life changed in that exact moment. In the days that followed, Madison was flooded with attention. YouTube views skyrocketed. DMs blew up. Press started calling her the female Justin. Scooter Braun, Bieber's own manager, took her under his wing. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? But what happens when a 12-year-old girl enters an industry that runs on image, sex appeal, and control? What happens when she's no longer seen as a child, but a product? Before long, Madison was being styled, posed, and coached to be the next Ariana Grande, sexy but safe, edgy but marketable. At just 13, her team was talking about her look, her aesthetic, her brand. Photo shoots got bolder. Her voice was coached to sound older. Suddenly, this middle schooler had to carry herself like she was 23. And through it all, Justin was there, tweeting support, inviting her to events, guiding her career, at least on the surface. Some began to notice how close they seemed. Videos showed them being physically affectionate. Madison was often seen at Bieber's house with little to no adult supervision. Rumors swirled, were they just mentor and mentee, or something more blurred? And here's the question that started buzzing in the background. Was this mentorship or manipulation? For years, Madison refused to entertain the idea that Justin had ever crossed a line. In interviews, she called him Big Bro, praised his guidance, and defended him even during his messiest public moments. She supported him through arrests, rehab, scandals, and breakups. But the more she stood by him, the more the public noticed the imbalance. Why did a teenager feel responsible for shielding a millionaire pop star's image? And when Madison was asked about her own emotional struggles, anxiety, depression, and eating disorder, she'd often get vague. The industry, she'd say. The pressure. But never names. Never details. Until recently. In 2023, Madison opened up more candidly in interviews. She spoke about being controlled at a young age, about being made to look and sound older when she wasn't ready. She hinted at being traumatized by early fame, and at one point even said, "I felt like I didn't own myself." No one was named, but fans connected the dots. She was discovered by Justin, managed by his team, protected by his circle. And still, she carried the silence like a second skin. Then came the viral TikTok. A now-deleted TikTok claimed Justin had groomed Madison. It showed clips of him holding her tightly at events, whispering in her ear, stroking her hair. Overlay text claimed, "This is not normal mentorship." Within hours, Justin grooming Madison was trending. But it wasn't until Hailey Bieber, Justin's wife, made a move that things truly exploded. On an Instagram story that was only live for minutes, Hailey posted a cryptic message: "Protect young girls. Always. Even if it's uncomfortable." No names. No follow-up. But fans knew. This wasn't random. This wasn't vague. It was precise, and it landed like a bomb. Did Hailey just call out her own husband? Or was she finally saying what insiders had whispered for years, that Justin's relationships with younger girls had boundaries that were, at best, blurry? Madison didn't respond directly. But 2 days later, she reposted a quote: "Some people protect the ones who hurt them because they're scared of what will happen if they stop." Then, just like that, she unfollowed Hailey. And Justin. The internet went nuclear. Now there were 3 people, 1 alleged incident, and a whole lot of unfinished business. Was this all a misunderstanding? Was Madison finally stepping into her truth? And what does Hailey really know that we don't? Let's take a step back. The entertainment industry has a long, messy history of adult men mentoring teenage girls. From Elvis and Priscilla to our Kelly's victims to Nickelodeon and Disney horror stories, this isn't new. What is new? Girls like Madison finally having a voice. And women like Hailey, once groomed herself, arguably, stepping into the spotlight to say, enough. The idea of grooming isn't just about age gaps. It's about power, control, and silence. Madison may have believed she was just lucky, that she was chosen. But as she matures, the framing of her story is changing, and so is the public's understanding. Today, Madison is in her early 20s. She's made it clear she's no longer afraid to speak her truth. Her recent music, especially songs like "Showed Me," "How I Fell in Love with You," has haunting undertones. She talks about manipulation, blurred boundaries, and finally reclaiming her body and voice. And fans are starting to see it. This wasn't just a messy teen star story. It was the slow burn of someone learning how to speak after years of being trained to stay quiet. Justin has yet to respond. Hailey has deleted her post. Madison continues to dodge direct questions. But the conversation is alive. More and more fans are asking, how many other girls did this happen to? How much of the early 2010s music industry was built on grooming? And how many of the nice guys we idolized were part of the problem? Was Justin just trying to help? Did Madison misunderstand his intent? Or did everyone, including Hailey, see what was happening and only now feel safe enough to speak? What does it mean to protect someone who may have harmed you? Why do so many young stars end up emotionally indebted to the very people who controlled them? And how do we, as fans, hold space for both healing and accountability? Madison Beer's story isn't just hers. It's the story of thousands of young girls in the spotlight, handed contracts before they can drive, and shaped by people they trust. Hailey's response, no matter how subtle, is part of a bigger reckoning. It's a sign that silence is cracking. So what do you think? Was this grooming, mentorship, or something murkier? Should Hailey have said more? Should Madison name names? Backhand index pointing down, drop your thoughts, theories, and fire takes in the comments. Let's talk. Let's unlearn. Let's question the fairy tales we grew up on. Because behind every dream come true story, there's a version someone was too scared to tell.